What is structural integration? It's a highly evolved form of bodywork developed by this brilliant biochemist, Dr. Ida Rolf. She got her PhD in biochemistry from Columbia in 1920, and then she went to the Rockefeller Institute here in the city and worked there as a researcher till 1932, at which point she got really frustrated with the way that the Western medical world was dealing with body issues. So she started her journey, and over a period of time, really into the late 50s. That's how long this took to develop what we call her recipe, her 10 series. I think of it as architecture for the body. You would never dream of building a building without putting the basement in. We are really concerned with what are you doing with your feet and legs if you're not balanced in the field of gravity, trying to deal with upper body issues without having the feet and legs balanced. It's a lost cause. What we do is foundation building, architecture for the body. We help your body rebuild itself from the ground up by working exclusively with the connective tissue system, which is the largest organ in the body. The purpose of Dr. Rolf's work was to free up the pelvis and activate the psoas. The psoas is an extension of the legs, and which is why we talk about foundation building. The pelvis is large, the rib cage is large, the head is very heavy, and the spinal column, of course, is quite a structure in and of itself. So what we want to do is get everything in line from the ground up to support all of this volume up here. You can change your shape. We're not doing it to you, we're doing it with you. In each session, we follow her recipe, and her recipe has fluidity in it that we can accommodate your particular situation, but we follow that recipe religiously, and that's the key to the success of our work. I'm giving input to the system, and as I give that input, the system shifts and changes and balances front to back, left to right, and really activates core. We look at the body as a whole, and we're interested in balancing the body from the ground up. So that is what makes our work so different. We build a foundation. What is fascia? Fascia is an incredible organ. It's the largest organ in the body. It's the organ of change. People used to say it was the skin that was the largest organ. No, it's the fascia. It is such an important part of our body that there's actually an international conference of scientists. Fascia is wrapping each muscle, each piece of muscle, then it bundles those pieces together into tendons and ligaments and allows us to move. Otherwise, we'd just be bits and pieces. And it wraps all the major organs, kind of acting as packing material. And the important thing to remember about it is it starts in the soles of your feet and it goes up, around, through everything, up into your head. Everybody can benefit from structural integration. You don't have to have chronic pain or discomfort, but often people are in that place. But athletes, we've worked on many people doing triathlon competitions, marathons. They find that their performance is really boosted, and also people that are working out all the time or doing yoga or doing Pilates. It's extremely beneficial to have this 10 series balancing process done, so you're working out in the most efficient way, less likely to hurt yourself.
I actually came to structural integration by referral of a friend after having experienced 3 major life-changing physical events, one being a motor vehicle accident, which was very serious, that left me with multiple joint and disc injuries, as well as soft tissue injuries, both in my back and neck, as well as my hip and knee. And unfortunately, that was followed with major surgery that was needed, abdominal surgery. So I also had limited ability after that. And then it followed with an awful bicycle accident, which left me with some immobility and injury, major injury in my left shoulder, my left foot, and knee and hip as well. And after a year of physical therapy, I still had a limited range of motion and a lot of pain. I also had some central core pain on the left side. And after multiple tests and doctor visits and specialists and physical therapy, I still had limited range of motion, a lot of pain, and I was no longer able to dance, which I do also as a hobby, and it was just very challenging for me. So I was referred by a friend and came to see Kate for a 10 series. And after only 2 or 3 sessions, I had miraculously had range of motion again in both my leg and my arm, which had really been limited for quite some time. And then overall, after following through with the full series, I noticed a difference in my gait, in the way I walked. I no longer had that central core pain, a lot of resolution with the other injuries and the limited mobility. And it just changed the way I felt when I woke up, when I went to sleep. I was able to get back to yoga, to get back to dance, and really get back to just normal functions that I no longer was able to do prior. And so I was really very impressed with not only how rapid, but how holistic the results were.
Structural integration complements many other modes of body works. It really helps chiropractic if people find chiropractic is beneficial. Their chiropractors are very happy because they're more easily adjusted and the adjustments last longer because they're not fighting all those patterns. It's really great for people that do yoga. It's great for people that do Pilates. It's a wonderful complement to acupuncture. I've had experience with that we've really kind of double teamed it with structural integration and acupuncture and has resolved some really serious problems. One of the major things we deal with in our work is head forward position. We're in a head forward society, especially with all the texting and the computer work that everybody's doing. And people kind of get cemented into a head forward position, and posturally they can't come back out of it because the shoulders and neck are so built up and solid by the connective tissue patterning. So what happens is, for every inch your head is forward, it loads an extra 10 pounds on your spinal column. So if your head is hanging 3 inches ahead of where it should be, you've got an extra 30 pounds loaded onto your spinal column, which contributes over time to spinal degeneration, which is not a wonderful thing. And the thing to remember is the bones do not have any strength to withstand the pressure of the connective tissue patterning. So people are amazed when they work with us that we can actually allow the connective tissue to rehydrate and for the head to basically migrate back to the position where you're upright instead of head forward. It's not that you can't do things that are head forward, but you don't have to live there.
In addition to the hands-on work at structural integration, Chelsea, it's important that people understand how to use their feet. The feet are really the basement of the body and need to be in line. Feet need to be parallel, hips need to be moving as you walk, and it's important to find a nice heel-toe motion so that you create a better balance through the body. Some people come in standing on the outside of their feet. Some people come in standing on the inside of their feet. Many people come in with their feet averted, so their feet are pointing outward. When that happens, because the legs connect all the way into the pelvis turns in, thus stopping the proper motion of your spine. It needs to undulate. People need to have their feet parallel. A proper heel-toe involves coming down on the calcaneus, or the heel of the foot, rolling through the arch, and pushing off through the toe arch. When the feet are not properly positioned under the body, it creates issues in the pelvis, because as you can see, the feet connect directly to the pelvis. So when the feet turn out, the pelvis turns in, thus pinning the spine, which separates the pelvis, and not letting it undulate properly in movement.
I've had issues with pain in my back and hip most of my life related to scoliosis. And I've tried a number of things to help, but the most long-lasting impact has been from working with Shelby and receiving structural integration. Since working with him, I have better range of motion in my hips. I don't have any back pain. I'm less likely to get injured. I overall have better balance and posture. It's really been very life-changing for me. It also helps that Shelby is a very caring person, and I can tell that when he's working with me that he's really trying to figure out my exact situation and how to resolve it. I would highly recommend Shelby and his work to anyone that is suffering with pain and wants to improve their body. Since working with Shelby, after a few sessions, I immediately noticed a real improvement in my posture. I could tell that I was actually breathing better, and that some of the pain in my back had gone away. Also, I had better range of motion in my hips, and so I was able to notice a difference when I was active in sports, and overall just feel like my body is more balanced.